Jonathan Troen, welcome to the Fieldswell Podcast.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me here.
It's my pleasure. I'm so pumped to have you on. I feel like this has been a long time coming. We've been connected via the LA Tribune, and we are about to dive into something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is self-love. And if I know a thing or two, it's that you have some experience in that arena.
I believe I do. I call self-love the most important skill we have never been taught.
Hmm.
It's the secret ingredient, the missing ingredient to all success. You can have all the money in the world, but if you are lacking self-love,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
by the same token, not that, I mean, it's nice to have money. It helps do things. It helps you contribute more. And that's a good thing.
Hmm.
But if you don't have a lot of it, but you have acceptance for you and who you
Hmm.
are and love for yourself, it is still a joyous life. I mean, I've traveled around the world and seen people who you look and go, well, that's not successful. And they're just loving life.
Yes.
It comes from in here.
It's so true. Like those in third world countries out dancing on the street,
Exactly.
sharing big, vibrant dinners together, enjoying the quality of life.
Yeah, I remember. It was a bunch of years ago now, but I took a trip to the Galapagos Islands.
Hmm.
Had to get away from here and go into nature.
Yeah.
And that's how I could enjoy life. We had to get away from here. And I
Right.
remember the bus was going. It was we were still on the mainland, right? So we were going to the coast. So we were on
Uh-huh.
a bus going from the city to the coast, where the plane would take us to the islands.
Yeah.
And you go through all these one small villages, but then they're just places with there's kind of a shack on the side of the road, and then there are a few miles and a shack on the side of the road. And I remember so vividly in my head still, and it's been over 20 years, and I have this vivid image of this guy, and he's just sitting on his steps on the
Hmm.
street there, in
Yeah.
what we would call from the outside dilapidated cabin. And he's
Hmm.
got this huge smile on his face. He's
Wow.
loving life, and you go,
Yeah.
what what's he figured out that we haven't figured out?
What's your secret? And it's so true. You see it often, this chase for fame or success and individuals who seem like they've made it to the top, and you're like, why aren't they happy? Or what could be missing? You have all the money in the world. Why aren't you happy? And I feel like that answer often is they haven't taken that journey inward to really learn how to love themselves.
Yeah. And of course, it's because we're not taught.
Right?
That's what we're not taught in schools.
Yeah.
We're taught how to compete with everyone. So, I have a podcast, you have a podcast. We're competitors. Look around the room. There's only one number one. We see that in movies
Uh,
too. Look around the room. Only one
yeah.
of you is going to be the champion here. Who's your competitor? It's like,
Mhm.
okay, we don't have to live that way.
Yeah. Let it
Yeah.
go. And we can all be here to help one another. And I feel like that's where true happiness and fulfillment comes from.
Yes.
Hmm.
When we build
Hmm.
each other up, we actually
Yes.
feel better about ourselves
Yes.
too.
100%. So you've started this self-love revolution. You're a life mastery coach. Was there a moment where you tell us a little bit more about your story and how you really got into this work?
So the truth is, as I look back, there were hundreds of moments.
Mm.
There wasn't the one big aha, and now my life is completely different. There
Yeah.
were a lot of small moments.
Okay.
One that comes to mind, and if you want to talk for hours, I could go through a lot of them. But one that comes to mind. So I used to live in Santa Monica, California, and they have
Hmm.
this beautiful park called Palisades Park. It overlooks
Yep.
the ocean.
I've
Uh,
walked it many times. I actually lived in Santa Monica for a minute, so this story really resonates.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I lived on Third Street at the time. I used to live in the middle of LA. Then I wanted to be closer to the beach, and
Hmm.
and so I moved to 11th Street when I had the opportunity to, because I got my company got bought out by another company, so now I had the funds, right? So
Okay.
okay, finally got to Santa Monica, but after a while at 11th Street, I'm like, I'm kind of far from the beach. I'm not having so much fun here. It took me, it was a 3-minute bike ride and a 20-minute walk. I want to be closer. So I moved
Closer.
to Third Street, right? So now I could have my feet in the sand in 10 minutes, watch the sunset. Like it was an amazing life, but
Hmm.
then still something
Yeah.
something was missing. I couldn't find.
More.
So I'm walking down on the park, overlooking the ocean, and I have my headphones in because at that time I needed to drown out the voices in my head. I didn't
Mm.
know I was doing that. I thought I was just listening to the music that I love.
Yeah.
And folks, if you're listening to headphones, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If, catching up on podcasts, it's great.
Hmm.
But I learned what I was doing was trying to shut down the voices in my head.
Mm.
And I was listening to a song. I spent 20 years in the entertainment business.
Okay.
I was interviewing the biggest stars in the world and the smallest stars in the world, everybody in between. And there was this band that I worked with. We had worked with them a few times called Social Distortion,
Mhm.
big punk band in Los Angeles. And, I had interviewed the band and we had broadcast their
Mm.
shows and all kinds of stuff. So I'm listening to this song, the Social Distortion song comes on just on random, back in the days of the iPod, right? And I had, I don't know, 50,000 songs on there because that
Yeah.
was my life, was music. And this song comes on that I had heard thousands of times before.
Hmm.
And these are the lyrics that I heard
Mm.
as if it was for the first time. And the lyrics said, "You can run all your life, but not go anywhere."
Mm.
And I'm like, because I lived on 3rd Street and I knew, okay, if I can make it 2 more blocks to Ocean, so I don't have to walk by those houses, because I could see the sunset out my window, but it was kind of between other things. I could just
Right.
see it. Now, if I had the uninstructed view,
Hmm.
well, then I could be happy, of course. There
Yeah.
was always something in the future. And I heard them and I'm going, oh my God, am I running towards something or am I running away from something?
Mm.
And what I realized was I was running away from something. And the thing I was running away from was me,
Yes.
or the voices in my head, but I couldn't run away from the voices in my head
Right.
because they were in my head. And
Right.
it was just like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? And of course, what am I going to do? Because
Mm.
I built this, what I thought was an amazing life,
Right.
living the life of my dreams, but still not happy.
Mm.
And I just kind of freaked out for a moment,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then I
And
looked around me in Hollywood and I realized that I wasn't alone.
yeah, that's what
That
I
there were
wanted
a
to
lot of
say.
other people.
I think there are
Yeah.
a lot of people going through this and they don't know what, and they're searching for this answer of what's
Yeah.
wrong with me.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, we're taught from a young age that there's something wrong with us. We're compared to other people. As kids, we're saying, you see that kid on the playground, they're behaving. Why can't you behave like them?
Mm.
Other kids are doing better at school. Why can't you study like so and so?
Yeah.
And then we get to work. And then it's like, well, why can't you be as productive as that person? Why can't you make
Mm.
as much money as that person? So there I was living a pretty good life. This was in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So 90s, now you see all your Facebook feed gets filled with,
Mm.
30 days to 7
Oh my
figures,
gosh.
all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
this was the 90s, so 6 figures was enough back then. So I knew when I hit $100,000, well, then I could be happy because
Then,
that was the problem. But
yes.
I hit $100,000 and I got to move really close to the beach
Mm-hmm.
and something was still missing. But what I realized was nothing was missing. Because here's what happened. So then I go on this journey to figure out, well, what's wrong with me? So yes, the first thing I figure out is, whoa, I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Right.
people are actually feeling this way. And swear to God, I thought I was the only one that spoke to myself.
Mm.
There were the homeless people. And in Santa Monica, sadly, there were a lot of homeless people. So they spoke to themselves out loud. And there I was speaking to myself quietly. So I wasn't crazy,
Right.
but I had no idea that everyone had this inner dialogue.
Yeah.
So when I discovered everyone else was speaking to themselves, and I was my biggest enemy, you're your
Mm.
biggest enemy, we're all
Mm-hmm.
our biggest enemy.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
It's like, okay, so I'm not alone. And it took some years to actually figure this one out. I made the biggest discovery in my life. This is the discovery I made.
Okay.
Went on the search to figure out what was wrong with me, and I discovered there was nothing wrong with me. I'm
Mike.
like,
Yeah.
what? There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have to pretend to be somebody else or try and be somebody else. Or, when will I be like that
Mhm.
producer, or when will I be like that successful person? Uh, I didn't have to try and be anybody else.
You could just be you.
I could just be
Yeah.
me. Of course, that was difficult too because I didn't know how to be me. So I had to learn like who am I? So I had to like learn
Right.
what my values are and
Yeah.
do all this work to re-meet
Hmm.
myself.
Hmm.
But when you can wake up in the morning and look yourself in the eyes and
Hmm.
simply say, "Hey, I love you. I
Hmm.
accept you just the way you are."
Yeah.
That is the most freeing
Mm.
thing in the world.
Hmm. There's this quote that comes to mind, and it's like, you can only love others as deeply as you love yourself, or you can only meet others as deeply as you've met yourself. And I think this is so true. And it's almost like we're put here on this earth to like learn how to love and care for our human.
Yes, we were put here to connect with other people. You know, there are, I lose track sometimes, but there are like 7
Hmm.
billion people on the
Set
planet or
billions.
something.
Yes.
There are billions of planets out in
Hmm.
these universes. If we weren't supposed to be with each other, we'd all be on our own planet, hanging out,
Right.
meditating, doing whatever it is we're supposed to do. But no, we're here on Earth together so that we can connect with each other
Hmm.
and help each other. And yes, well, some people say you can't love others if you don't love yourself. I don't necessarily believe that because I believe how we love others can inform and teach us how to love ourselves. It goes both ways.
Hmm.
And I will also say and agree, yes, you can only love others as deeply
Hmm.
as you love yourself. The more deeply you can love and accept yourself, the more deeply you can love
Yes.
and accept another
Yes.
human being. And I'll be honest. So I'm a husband, I'm a dad,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's hard work. You don't want to take the time to you know focus and look in the mirror and say something kind to
Hmm.
yourself or sit and meditate or all that stuff. Because we're not worth it. Right. And even I've been doing this for years now. And
Hmm.
it's not like I don't have stories in my head. The voices are still there. I just know how
Hmm.
to work with them now. It's not a
Yes.
conquering of the voices. It's how do you work with them? Same
Yeah.
with Buddha. The Buddha's mind didn't go silent. If you really study with Buddhist philosophers,
Hmm.
the Buddha's mind kept wandering. It's just how did he respond and react to the thoughts
Hmm.
that he had? So sometimes when I don't want to do something that I know will be beneficial for me,
Yes.
or I'm inclined to do something that I know, hey, that's not going to be good for you,
Yeah.
I think of my son and I think of my
Mm-hmm.
family,
Hmm.
and I want to be able to love them more. So
Hmm.
okay, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to
Hmm.
do for me, for my head, for my heart, so
Yeah.
that I can show up for them more deeply,
Yes.
more powerfully?
Yes.
So if those of you watching, if you don't think it's worth it for you,
Hmm.
it might be worth it for you to practice on you so that you can be there
For
for your
others.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, a couple of things come to mind. This whole like self-love being selfish. But I think, again, the better I feel, the more I care for myself, the more I can give to others.
yeah. Self-love, one, is the most unselfish thing you can do. It's the kindest thing you can do
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
anybody who is close to you in your life.
Hmm.
Because the kinder you are to yourself, the kinder you are to others. When you beat yourself up, when you pick out your mistakes, then you begin to notice those in other people.
Mm.
And then, well, why'd that person do that?
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing, right? That person just cut me off. Ugh. Okay. When's the last time you cut somebody off that you
Right.
weren't paying attention? Maybe you were paying attention and you were late and like, I gotta pick up my son from school.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be the jerk, or you just weren't paying attention, right? It just happened to me yesterday. I cut someone off. I'm like, hey, sorry, it was an accident.
Right.
When someone cuts me off, I go, okay, well, either they just weren't paying
Uh-huh.
attention. Oh, guilty is charged,
Right.
because I can forgive myself for doing that. I
Yes.
can forgive them for doing
Yes.
that. or maybe they did it intentionally and they got to get somewhere. I don't know. Maybe
Right.
they played for something. I've been in
You
that position.
you never know what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the kinder we are to
Hmm.
ourselves, the kinder we are to others, it is so unselfish. The other people, so people say it's selfish, and people say, it's another word people will use. It's kind of like, I can't, the word's not coming to my mind. So I'll
Sure.
tell you what it is.
Yeah, I want to say your definition for self-love, and I think the four pillars would really help our listeners understand how they can enhance their own self-love practice by understanding
Yeah.
what self-love is.
So I'm going to tell you what self-love is, but also let me tell you that self-love is the most courageous act you can take.
Hmm.
People think it's the easy thing to do. And I'm going to tell you, no, it's easy to put on a mask, pretend you're something you're not, get all that armor out and be the strong person. That's easy. To take the masks off, to
Mhm.
take the armor off.
Yeah.
Now, that is an act of courage.
Yes.
So here's the definition. Self-love is simply being a friend to yourself,
Mm.
being kind to yourself. There are stages. These aren't the pillars, but there are stages. So
Mhm.
the first is not fighting yourself.
Mm.
Then there's being friendly to yourself.
Mhm.
And then maybe if you do that long enough, there are moments of real love for yourself.
Yeah.
And then we can get to an unconditional self-love.
Mm.
And I think about it like this.
Mhm.
If a friend knocked on your door and she was in a great mood and she was celebrating something wonderful that happened to her, she got the promotion or got engaged or whatever it is, and she knocked on your door, was really excited, you would open the door, you would invite her in, you would be excited to see her, you'd
Yes.
say, yeah, come on in, sit down on the couch, tell me everything.
Yes.
And by the same token, if
Mhm.
that person knocked on your door and said, hey, Lauren, you're not going to believe what just happened. I did the worst thing at work today. I really messed up. You would invite them in.
Yes.
You'd sit them on the couch and you'd say, hey, I got your back.
Mhm.
It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Someone a while ago asked me what my favorite quote is. In case you're going to ask later, here's my
Yeah.
favorite. My
Tell us.
favorite quote is, I've got your back.
Mm.
And it's when you say it to yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
If we can have our back when we're successful, because
Yeah.
the truth is, when we succeed at something, we're like, yay,
Easy.
we run on to the next project.
Easy. Yeah.
But it's easy, but we don't, the truth is, we don't celebrate that much. It's like, okay,
True.
what's next?
Yeah.
Right? So we have to pause and celebrate. And man, if we can treat ourselves like a friend in those difficult times,
Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
self-compassion. That is self-love. It's the understanding that we all go through these similar things in life.
Mhm.
We all have celebrations, we all have struggles, and
Yeah.
it's okay. And I'm going to accept you, Jonathan.
Mhm.
Things are awesome. I'm going
Mhm.
to accept you, Jonathan, when things are really bad. I'm
Yeah.
going to accept you when you're happy. I'm going to accept you when you're
Yeah.
sad. All of it. And it's so beautiful when you can become your own best friend.
Mhm.
Don't be your
Mhm.
own best friend overnight. Just start with being friendly.
Yeah.
Start with not
Like
fighting. Then be friendly.
what are the steps? Because yes, it's so much easier to love yourself and be proud of yourself and celebrate yourself when things are going like you want them to go. But in those more difficult low moments, it can be
Yeah.
hard. What are your tips for individuals who
So
may be struggling?
So here are the four pillars. And I want to be straight out with you. Each of these pillars
Mm.
is a 2-hour class. And often when I teach these, it's like it's a 10-week sequence. And so there are some things we do beforehand, and then we go with these 4 modules, and usually even those 2 hours I go over. All
Sure.
right.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you the highlights.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank you.
So number 1 is acceptance, and what I call complete
Mm.
acceptance. Most of us taught acceptance. You have to accept what is. It's not just accepting what is. I think acceptance is just taught wrong out there.
Mhm.
So complete acceptance is accepting what is and accepting the fact that you want it to be different.
Okay.
It's not just giving up, right? People say,
Right.
well, if you accept it, you're giving up,
Yeah.
right? There are homeless people in the world, and I really wish there were no homeless people in the world. I think there's enough
Hmm.
wealth to go around. It's been a cause of mine since I was a really young kid growing up in Boston.
Hmm.
Uh, but we drive in the street, there are homeless people. I accept that that exists,
Hmm.
and I accept the fact that I want it to be different.
Yes.
And
It can
take action
coexist.
that I can do, but I can't deny that it exists.
Right.
So we have to accept. And that includes ourselves. It includes, let's say you want more money in the bank, right? So it's accepting, okay, this is what is,
Hmm.
and I want it to be different. This is why affirmations don't work for many. About 20% of the people I've run into, affirmations really do work. So maybe some people are wired a little differently. For most of us, I I'm rich. I have a lot of money. Well, you don't have a lot of money if you don't have a lot of money in the bank. There might be other ways you're rich, rich in your
Right.
heart, rich in your surroundings, rich in your love, rich in your family, right? So you can't
Hmm.
say, how am I rich, and kind of and feel all the ways you are rich. But when we just lie to ourselves,
Right.
that doesn't help. So acceptance, that's the foundation. Accepting what it is and accepting the fact that you want it to be different. Once you accept what is, you can take
Hmm.
action to make it different.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, Step two, you have to change your emotional energy.
Big one.
Now, there are many ways to do that. You can go for a jog, you can listen to music, lots of different ways to do it. Now, the single easiest, most powerful way to do it, which you can
Mhm.
do anytime, anywhere. This is going to sound so cliche.
Yeah.
I
Tell
always
us.
hate saying this, but you know, it's cliche because cliches become cliches because they're true.
Hmm.
So it's gratitude. You
Yes.
know, I've done a
Yes.
lot of summits. I haven't done one for about a year, year and a half, but
Hmm.
I did about 5 summits. I interviewed hundreds of people for these summits.
Hmm.
Um, TV stars and book authors and trainers and coaches. And if there was one thing that everybody said that you had to have for a successful, joyous life, it was gratitude. That was the one thing everyone
Huge.
had in common. People that were on the left, people that were on the right, everyone.
Yeah.
Gratitude. And here's the thing, it's not about just, okay, let me write some stuff in the journal. It's science, folks. It's science. You are a chemical making machine.
Hmm.
And gratitude releases dopamine,
Hmm.
right? So when you're scrolling your Facebook and you're getting hits of dopamine, right? There's another way to that.
Yeah.
Gratitude. I'm not saying I don't look at Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, but gratitude is going to get you there so much better. And gratitude also releases serotonin.
Hmm.
Serotonin, that's the hormone. That dopamine is like the quick hits.
Yeah.
Serotonin, that long hit. When you hug someone for 30 seconds or more,
Hmm.
serotonin is released. And that just brings out this peaceful space and lasts for a period of time in your body.
Yes.
You're a chemical making machine. Most of us are just making cortisol. That's the stress hormone.
Hmm.
We're in
Hmm.
traffic.
Interferes with our thinking.
It
Zero
interferes with your
benefit. Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
It interferes with your digestion. It
Hmm.
interferes with your sleep, all of
Hmm.
it. Uh, you can't necessarily always control what chemicals you make, and you can't control the thoughts that you have all the time, right? We have 70,000 thoughts a day.
Yes.
95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday.
Hmm.
That's kind of scary in itself. And 80% of those thoughts, for most of us, if you haven't done this work before, 80% of the thoughts are negative. So just
Yes.
take a pause for a moment and think about all the thoughts you've had today.
Hmm.
Well, did some of them you have yesterday?
Hmm.
Some of them negative. Now, we can't always control the thoughts that come in,
Hmm.
but we can plant thought. We can implant thoughts into our head.
Hmm.
We can pause and say, I'm going to put in some positive thoughts.
Yes.
I have this, I'm looking out of this window here. It's beautiful. There are beautiful trees out there. I live in this beautiful house. I'm so lucky. We can walk down to restaurants and movies, and I'm blessed here. So I can pause and take gratitude. Oh, now I feel the serotonin going through my
Yeah.
body. If you really get in tune to it, it's like, people will have a bite of something really sweet and they'll say, feel the sugar running through my veins. If you
Uh-huh.
do this work, you can feel serotonin just
Yes.
expanding. So begin
Hmm.
to implant thoughts into your brain so that you will have 80% positive thoughts, 20% difficult
Hmm.
thoughts. I'm not saying no difficult thoughts. You die,
Right.
right? They
Right.
protect us. Is there
Protection.
anything
Yes.
dangerous out there? Do I have to protect myself? Right. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
Hmm.
But we need the 80-20 rules got to be the opposite. 80% positive thoughts, 20% difficult thoughts that may protect you.
Yeah.
All right. So we have complete acceptance
Yes.
and we have gratitude.
Energy.
Number
Hmm.
three. Now, I know I called self-love before the number one skill we've never been taught.
Hmm.
Now, within self-love, there is this, and this is really the number one skill that we've never been taught, and that is forgiveness.
Huge.
You cannot live this amazing life of joy and self-love without forgiveness.
Hmm.
And I'll share this. So the first time I learned about self-love, I was listening to Louise Hay. She's like the godmother of self-love. And she goes, okay, look yourself in the mirror and look yourself in the eyes and say, I love you. So
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, I've been doing some personal development work for some time now, and I read the Tony Robbins, and I watched The Secret, and I got trained as a coach. So I'm even now coaching other people, and we're having real success. I'm helping other people. Like this is what I was born to do. It's what you were all born to do.
Yeah.
I'm helping other people. This is great. And
Hmm.
then I learned about this thing called self-love. Okay, so I go to the bathroom. I didn't have glasses then, and I look myself in the mirror, and I go, Jonathan. That's an exact quote. The words could not come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Fell onto the floor like a ball for
Wow.
what seemed like an hour. It was probably a
Yeah.
minute. Um, it's like a truck hit me.
Wow.
And I go, oh my goodness, do I not like myself? Like if you would have asked me the day before, I would have said, well, of course I do. Why wouldn't I?
Hmm.
Yeah, I have the voices in my head, and I learned about the inner critics and saboteurs and stuff, and I learned about the inner guides, and
Yes.
so I had tools to deal with it.
Right.
In that moment, I was like, oh my God, even after all this, I don't I don't love myself.
Yeah. It is something that's hard for people to say. I've watched videos with Louise Hay, incredible woman and movement that she started on the self-love movement, that individuals really, it's hard for them to say, I love you to themselves.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to get back to the four pillars, but as I went on my self-development journey, this is why I put together Self-Love Revolution. I had to figure out how to live differently,
Hmm.
right? I knew that. So, I studied some of Tony Robbins, and okay, massive action. That's great. Now, I'm a Tony Robbins fan,
Hmm.
and if you're not, that's okay too. Some people don't like him. That's all good, right? But so, okay, I can take massive action. This is good. And then, so then there was Louise Hay and self-love, and I started practicing that, had some difficulties, and then there was, Bob Proctor's stuff and The Secret, and
Uh-huh.
all these teachers. And then I discovered this missing piece, which I never heard any of them speak about. Maybe they did, and I just didn't find it.
Hmm.
I uncovered the number one skill we've never been taught, which is forgiveness.
Mm.
When I learned forgiveness, I could then practice self-love. It was truly the missing ingredient for me. And that's why I put the self-love revolution together.
Yeah.
So that to me, it was for me, not it wasn't for any of you. It was for me. It wasn't called the self-love revolution then, but it's like, okay, so how do I take everything I learned from Tony Robbins and Bob
Hmm.
Proctor, Louise Hay, and then this forgiveness? And I wish I could tell you who I learned forgiveness was, but
Hmm.
honestly, just in passing on a
Yeah.
YouTube,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow. But then I dug into it, and then I started really. I came up on some other meditations. This woman who was teaching at UCLA, I started listening to her meditations. Then one of them just happened to be forgiveness, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, oh, wow, whoa, whoa. That's really cool. I need that. I practiced that, and I really dug into it. So that's the third
With
pillar.
forgiveness, though, the
Yeah.
big thing for me with that was it's not just forgiving others, it's forgiving yourself.
Yeah. So here's the deal with forgiveness. I'm telling you, it's 2 hours plus a lifetime. The three paths of forgiveness: forgiving someone else, asking forgiveness for someone else, because hey, you know what? As wrong as everybody else is, you screwed up too.
Hmm.
And forgiveness of yourself, which, yes, for many, that one
Yeah.
is the hardest. So, and I know we have limited time.
Mhm.
If anybody wants, reach out. and if you want, you can put a link or
I will.
whatever.
I will.
Just reach out to me. I will share the meditations with you. There is a longer forgiveness meditation. I'm happy to share it with you. It's about
Great.
10 minutes long, and that will work on some of these stuff we've been thinking about for 30,
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
We think about stuff that happened. We're pissed off at this person that did something 30 years ago because we know our life would be different today if they would have acted differently. Well, it's true. But pretending it would be different doesn't make it different. And we beat ourselves up too, right? Because we did something, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or yesterday, or we didn't do something that we feel we should have done. If I would have been courageous enough to take action then, we beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
So this longer meditation is going to heal some of those older stories. This, though, I can share in 30 seconds.
Great. 4.
It's the biggest change that's happened to my life in the last 5 years. So this is what I say to myself every night before I go to bed. I look myself in the mirror. I say, I forgive myself and anyone else who has hurt or offended me, knowingly or unknowingly, because half the time people don't even know they're doing stuff, be it physically, emotionally, or monetarily. I wish them no harm. I accept, remember acceptance, I accept this moment as it is, and I release myself from any future harm. So I'll say it again so you guys really get it.
Great.
I forgive myself and anyone else who has hurt or offended me, knowingly or unknowingly, physically, emotionally, monetarily. I wish them no harm. Oh no, I accept this moment as it is. I wish them no harm, and I release myself from any future pain. So now what happens is I get to go to bed without reviewing all these stories in my head. I have a great sleep, and I wake up for a new day. Instead of the reviewing all the things that the people that
Have ever
wronged you,
happened.
the things that you wronged yourself, and going to sleep like that, and then waking up all pissed off.
Right.
You can say that every night before you go to bed. Write it down, put it on your mirror, say it while you're brushing your teeth.
It's major accountability.
Yeah. And you just release yourself.
Yeah.
You release yourself from the baggage. So yes, I still have stuff from the old days that I'm still working through. So I do my longer meditation for that. But anything that happens today, that's gone.
Release.
That's gone.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's something really big, which usually happens with significant others or family members, maybe it takes a couple days. But then
it's not worth holding on to. Yeah. Release.
Yeah. I said forgiveness releases you from the chains of the past.
100%.
So that you can live the life that you want to live and create the life that you want to create.
So, Jonathan, we have to go to 4. I know we have limited time. We don't get the.
Sorry, guys. I just get so excited about all this.
I love it.
So the fourth pillar is self-love. It's being kind to yourself. Words of self-compassion. So look yourself in the mirror every single day. Now, you don't start with I love you. It can be really hard, especially if you don't have forgiveness. Look yourself in the mirror every day and say one kind thing to yourself. It could be about, hey, I like your eyes, or I like your smile. Or it could be, hey, I like that, whatever you did today. I like the way you showed up for me, I'll say, hey, you did a good job with your son today. You were there for when he needed you. He was at the door before interview. He was at the door trying to come in. I'm like, hey, you can do the interview with me if you want, and we'll be hanging out later. Take him to the baseball card store.
Love it.
So just say one kind thing to yourself. Don't try and pile it on. I promise you, if you do one kind thing to yourself every day, it'll turn into 2, 3 eventually on its own. But here's what we do. Our neck hurts, right? Oh, because we have a bad sleep. Oh man, my neck. Or we walk up the stairs and our knee hurts and we complain about our knees. But how often are you saying, wow, neck, thank you for being able to turn?
Yes.
Hey, knees, I know you got a little pain, but thank you for supporting me every single day, for walking up these stairs every single day, for supporting me every single day. We complain about our body when it's not showing up in the way we want it to,
So true.
but we don't honor it when it's doing wonderful things for us. When I first got
Yeah.
glasses, I was like kind of pissed off, right? Oh man, my eyes are going. That really sucks. Now I need glasses, eyes. What's wrong with you? Now I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
I still get to see. If they're
Right.
not on, okay, things are a little blurry.
Right.
But the truth is, I can actually still see.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they're on, whoa, how
Yeah.
great that someone invented these. And Jonathan,
Yeah.
your eyes, how beautiful. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've had it ringing in my ears since a Deep Purple concert in 1985.
Wow.
And it used to piss me off. I was pissed off that the band played too loud, even though it was a great show. I was pissed off at my ears. I was pissed off at the
Yeah.
doctors. So I've been to so many doctors trying to fix it, all this stuff. And then one day I just changed after doing this work. I
Mm-hmm.
go, I can actually still hear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even need hearing aids, although I'll get them soon enough. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
But I can hear. I can hear
Yeah.
people talk. I can hear my son's laugh. I can hear his crying. Uh, Ears,
Yeah.
thank you for still working. I abused you by going to
Yeah.
so many concerts without earphones. Know anything better. I abused you. I'm sorry, yet you still show up for me. Thank you,
Thank
ears.
you. The
Thank you very much.
gratitude is huge and the self-love. We have the acceptance, this acceptance, the gratitude, the forgiveness, and the self-love.
That's
And for
it.
our listeners, this is major insights. Jonathan, if you could leave them, I know you are taking your son to a baseball game this afternoon,
Oh,
correct?
I'm gonna take him to. He has a game tomorrow. We're
Okay.
gonna go to he collects cards now,
Love,
baseball cards. So we're going to the card stores.
love. So I feel like for our listeners, like they love action steps. One step they could take today to deepen their self-love practice or begin it.
Start treating yourself like a friend. That's it. It really is
Hmm.
I'm just going to repeat what I said. Say one
Yeah.
kind thing to yourself
Yeah.
every single day. If your friend walked in, you know, even if they weren't wearing the prettiest, outfit in the world, say, hey, you're looking great.
Hmm.
Say that to yourself. You
Yeah.
get a new gray hair,
Yeah.
just, hey, welcome to the family. I got a new wrinkle here,
The
and
neck wrinkles
usually,
are
oh,
beginning.
oh no, wrinkles, and the people wear the sunglasses. I learned this
Hmm.
when I worked in radio. When the crow's feet start
Yes.
coming, you wear sunglasses and that hides it, right?
Mhm.
So I saw this wrinkle. Now I will be honest with you. The first was, oh, a new one. These are the kind my grandfather had. Okay. And then I paused and go, I said this. Hey, I looked at that wrinkle and I said, welcome to the family.
Wow. I love that.
Stop fighting yourself.
Yeah.
Stop fighting your body.
Yeah.
Say one kind thing to yourself every single day. Start helping other people.
It's beautiful. We all
Life,
need it.
yeah, your life will
We
be
do.
totally transformed. Self-love is the missing
Hmm.
ingredient to success.
Yeah.
If you master it, you have the success that you've been looking for.
Mm. I love it, Jonathan. Thank you so much. Where can our listeners find you?
You can go to the selfloverevolution.com. You can hit me up, Jonathan Troen. I'm all in all
Mhm.
the regular places. You'll find me, but you can go to selfloverevolution.com, hit that button that says join the revolution. We'll get you some meditations and we'll enjoy life together. There are a group of us, we get together once a week and we do a little coaching and just working through some of the roadblocks that come up when
Yeah.
we start this process, which they happen. That's just a part of the process.
Mhm.
When I first learned personal development, was like, how do we get around or over?
Yeah.
No, now we go
No.
into it and feel it, and
Yeah.
it's icky for a moment, and we get to the other side, and there's beauty. So you're welcome to join our group if you want, and be with lovely people, and just experience what it's like to live in your own
Yeah.
body and
Mm.
appreciate it in this world of self-love and self-compassion.
Yeah. And enjoy being inside of yourself.
Yeah.
because wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Someone was sharing with me the other day, we get up every day and we put clothes on, and then at night we take them off, and then the next day we put new clothes on, and then we take them off. And you don't have to believe in past lives and all that kind of stuff. But if you do, so our soul comes here and puts some clothes on.
Yeah.
These are the clothes.
Right.
And at some point, it will take those clothes off,
Yeah.
and then in the future, it might put another set of
Uh,
clothes on.
Yeah.
So these are the clothes you're wearing.
Hmm.
Enjoy
Hmm.
them
Yeah.
while
I
you're
think
here.
like my body is the vessel for my spirit and my soul. And the more
That's
I love and care for myself, the safer my spirit feels to really come alive.
Yeah. Oh, that I gotta soak
Mm-hmm.
that one. That was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Yes. Jonathan, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, Lauren, I loved being here. Really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.